256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is time for another edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome back in. It is a Tuesday morning, crisp and clear in the Tennessee Valley. If you're making your way into work, into school, it's 52 degrees on this Tuesday morning. Welcome back in, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We want to hear from you on a Tuesday and something to think about as you make your way in to wherever you may be headed on this Tuesday. Obviously, Saturday is third-ranked Alabama, sixth-ranked Tennessee. Alabama winners of 15 straight in the series. A lot of those have not been close in the series, but this is a two-game stretch for Alabama. That is a tough one. You have sixth-ranked Alabama. You have nationally ranked Mississippi State on the horizon. So if you are an Alabama fan, are you feeling confident right now with the way Alabama is playing right now, with everything that they have gone through, everything that they are, that Alabama goes 2-0 in this stretch or 1-1 in this stretch? What's the confidence level that Alabama gets 2 wins in these next 2 games over Tennessee and Mississippi State with the way Alabama has played right now, with everything? I'm talking about penalties, offense, defense, everything thrown into a gamut.
Well, I think they're going 2-0 if Bryce Young's healthy. That's all I'm saying. They haven't lost a game with Bryce Young. Tennessee's played nobody. They've played Pitt, who lost to Georgia Tech. They've played Florida, had to survive making Anthony Richardson look like and Knoxville by 5. You know, he looked like Randall Cunningham. Threw for 450 yards, had 500 yards of offense, and he couldn't clean Bryce's bathroom. So that's all I'm going to say. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, a hell of a matchup. Tennessee can certainly win the game. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if Alabama's got Bryce Young, then they can win the game. And there's no question in my mind they can, and they can win it by double digits if they play their best game. If Alabama plays their best game and Tennessee plays their best game, Alabama wins by double digits, period, end of story. And that's what I believe. And because Alabama's defense is ranked 6th in the nation, Tennessee's is ranked 87th.
Yeah, Tennessee's pass defense right now, as far as yards given up per game, is 128th in the country.
And, I mean, all I'll say is Jaden Daniels, who comparing Bryce and Jaden Daniels is like a Rolls-Royce and a Pinto, that's he threw for 300 yards against Tennessee. So
teams are averaging 307.4 yards per game through the air against Tennessee this season. Tennessee has allowed, though, while they give up 307 yards a game, they have only allowed 6 passing touchdowns.
And that's fine. And
I'm just saying that they give up the yards, but they don't give up the touchdowns.
Their rush defense is better this year, but when you go back and look at the Pitt game, they gave up a ton of rushing yards. Okay?
Right. Only Bowling Green, Vanderbilt, and Ohio.
Okay, say that again. Say those 3 again.
Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt.
Okay.
And Ohio have only those are the only teams in the country that give up more passing yards than Tennessee.
And didn't Tennessee play one of those teams?
I believe they played Bowling Green. And so
and,
Tennessee's
and
120. Tennessee's 128th. Arkansas is 127th.
And what was Bryce doing to Arkansas before he got hurt? Shredding them. So that's all I'm saying. On the road, and he was 7 of 13 for 174 yards, and probably should have been 10 of 13 if it wasn't Kerthunken. Okay, if people were doing what they were supposed to do and catching the ball, which they're going to have to do Saturday, because Alabama's going to have to score. They're going to have to score 35 to 45 points to win this game because of a great quarterback in Hendon Hooker, some really good receivers at Tennessee, and Jabari Small is playing well. Tennessee's O-line has played better than anticipated. I still think Alabama's got the better O-line, but again, this is a very dangerous Tennessee football team.
All right, Ryan's with us on the phone lines this morning. Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, guys. Just going to keep it short this morning because, all of us have talked all the miscellaneous talking points with everyone, over the last few days. But what is the probability that we're going to see the top blown off, if you know what I mean, like Jameson Williams last year, and we're finally going to bring in Tyler Howell or Aaron Anderson. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I mean, Tyler Harrell practiced a lot last week. He did not play in the game against Texas A&M. Aaron Anderson has been practicing, so we'll see. I'm not sure. I mean, I just think that the veteran guys are going to have to step their stuff. Now, Jacory Brooks made some plays in the game this past week, including a touchdown, including a big third down the middle. So he, at least in his opportunities, and Burton made plays. I'm not a huge Trayshawn Holden guy. I don't think he's very explosive, but and I think he's had too many drops, and he's kind of soft to me. I'll just be honest with you. But we'll see if he steps up in this game. Perhaps he does. Or perhaps one of these other younger guys like an Isaiah Bond, like a Kendrick Law, or as you said, Aaron or Tyler Harrell, and perhaps they make their debut and make some plays. We'll see.
But the whole thing of like blowing the top off, because like I visually remember Jameson Williams doing that all the time, where he just exploded ahead of everyone, and I don't get that kind of vibe from anyone, even though I support the entire team. I feel like that's the one area that's lacking is that kind of just, bullet right out, and then, Bryce just connects.
Well,
and who on our team can do that?
Well, I mean, Scott was just telling you against Arkansas, who still has a pretty good football team. I know everybody's got the shovels out, and they're burying them and everything because they've lost 3 games, but people just didn't pay attention. One, they had a very tough schedule, and two, Arkansas is not going to beat Mississippi State without KJ Jefferson. Okay, that's just not. They can't survive. It's just like Alabama. They wouldn't be able to survive long term without Bryce Young. Now they beat at Texas A&M because they're one of the most piss poorly coached teams in America and the most overrated team in the country. But that's just part of it. Unless you read certain websites. Okay, but I mean, again. They're not nearly as good as people thought they were, and so they're a pretty good team. They're not a terrible team. I think they're a 7-5, maybe an 8-4 team, which is basically why August the 4th was created. But we'll have to wait and see about that. But again, I think when you look at it, Arkansas is still a pretty good football team. They've got some defensive issues, but they can't. Just about every team in the SEC. For Tennessee, for example, if Hendon Hooker goes down and they have to go to Joe Milton, it's going to be a much different situation for them.
Kentucky this past week
without Will Levis. Yeah, they lose to South Kakalaki.
Yeah.
Okay, who had not looked very good at all. So you have to have your quarterback. It's why Bryce Young, I will say this on this show, I think he's going to play Saturday and be effective. If not, Alabama's going to go down. I don't think there's any question. No disrespect to Jalen Milroe. He battled. He did okay Saturday. But with a team that's averaging 50 points a game like Tennessee with Hendon Hooker, the only way that I think Alabama would have a chance to win the game would be to force 4 or 5 turnovers and then basically to also knock out Hendon Hooker. Other than that, I think Tennessee definitely has the advantage. But what I was going to say, let me finish. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. But what Scott was referring to, though, is before Bryce went out of the Arkansas game as far as explosiveness, you saw Kobe Prentice go 47 yards, and you saw a 53-yard catch from Isaiah Bond. So a lot of times it's the quarterback having to deliver the ball. I think they've got some explosive dudes that are starting to assert themselves, but it's what it really is, Ryan, is it's the younger receivers. I think the younger receivers have the most explosiveness and talent on this team.
Yeah. Hey, one last point. So in terms of experience versus talent, would you say the same reason we haven't seen Ty Simpson potentially the way, Tua came out and saved us a few years ago against Georgia is the same reason that Texas A&M hasn't brought out Connor Wegman? It's like, yeah, they're highly rated, but they'll be like anxiety prone, you think?
Well, I mean, I was messaging with a guy about this yesterday who put out a tweet saying that Ty Simpson obviously wasn't as good as Jalen Milroe and Alabama needed to go in the portal. And all I told him was Ty Simpson's been here 3 or 4 months. He's not ready yet. Milroe's been there 2 years. They're definitely going to compete in the spring. And you can't make any snap judgments. Look, there's only been one quarterback that I've seen, even in this era of Alabama football, that I thought during his freshman year, probably by the midpoint of the season, that was ready to be a star in the SEC. Because Jalen was good. He was SEC Offensive Player of the Year, but if you remember, it was mostly as a runner, which is what Milroe should have been doing the other day. He made some plays as a passer,
right.
But the only guy that I saw that I thought was an elite passer of the football was Tua, and I saw him early. The rest of them, Mac Jones needed development. It took him over a couple years to get developed physically and get his feet wet and be good. And then Bryce waited a full year. He just got mop-up duty behind Mac Jones, which is basically what Tua was doing with Jalen and should have. Jalen had established himself the year before.
Well,
he just beat him out by the end of the year. But again, it's just very hard for a true freshman to come in and be a starting quarterback in college football and be good.
Well, he wasn't a true freshman when Alabama got him, but it took Jake Coker a whole year.
Yeah, behind Blake Sims
to come in.
He was a transfer.
And be a bona fide starter.
And even then, people want to laud Lane Kiffin, and some of them want him as the next coach at Alabama, which I think is lunacy. I think he's a good coach, but I wouldn't want that. His AD detail. Coaching Alabama and having to put up with juice and all this other crap and trying to focus on football. But I mean, people forget he started Cooper Bateman against Ole Miss.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey,
one of the all-time stupid moves in the history of Alabama football under Nick Saban. Almost got him fired.
Let's hope Tennessee doesn't get to smoke some cigars on Saturday. I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Ryan. 256-576-4977.
Saving the knuckles for this week, man.
So does Alabama doesn't become one-dimensional if Jalen Milroe's in there, do they?
Yeah. I mean, they're not as explosive in the passing game. I mean, come on, man. They threw for 111 yards.
Right.
I mean,
right.
if he had not made the mistakes and fumbled and taken off, for example, I think he would have rushed, because he actually rushed for over 100, but you have to take in the sacks and all that stuff, and so that knocked it down to 83. But he would have rushed for probably about 130, 140 yards. And if you look at it, and if he doesn't turn it over and say Alabama wins 31-13, you know what that is? A media member pointed this out to me yesterday. We were talking on the phone, and it's 110% accurate. It would have been, and this is no shot at him, it would have been like when the first year Jalen Hurts played quarterback. Because you know what Jalen Hurts did? And he did this his whole career, and it was the best thing he did in college, is he didn't turn it over. He hardly ever fumbled, ever. And then he didn't throw interceptions. Like his sophomore year before he lost his job, 17 touchdowns, 1 interception. I think it was against Arkansas. And it was a miscommunication. Like he threw the ball too low. I think the receiver thought he was going to go in. He went out. My goodness, he didn't turn the ball over. So if Jalen Milroe does the same thing on Saturday, Alabama wins and covers pretty much, or wins very comfortably, and it's a carbon copy of what Jalen did. Jalen was two things. He was a tough kid because he could take a dadgum hit.
Right.
Remember that Ole Miss game in that year in Oxford? And I'll tell you what else he could do. He didn't turn it over. I think he threw his freshman year. Maybe he threw 7 interceptions. But he only threw 8 total, 1 the next year. And he never hardly fumbled, except for on that blindside hit against Ole Miss that was returned for a touchdown. But then he went right back down the field the next drive and scored, and then helped them come back. So he didn't turn it over very much at all. And I will say this. Coach Saban talked about that Milroe played with anxiety. Never thought Jalen played with anxiety. Never. The only thing Jalen Hurts didn't do, and he didn't do it till he was a backup for a year at Alabama and then went to Oklahoma, and now he's transitioned it and gotten better at it at times in the NFL. Sometimes he still reverts, but he still does a much better job in the NFL. Is that he wouldn't move his head. He would go to one read. He'd lock on that dude. If the dude was open, throw it, and if the dude wasn't, he'd take off. But again, one thing he did not do, he didn't turn it over. And he didn't put your team in a bind. And so that's what happened with Milroe. Milroe, we talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't think he played horribly, but again, you can't have those 3 turnovers in the first half, because the reason I say you can't say horrible, because he threw 3 touchdowns. And even the interception was like a freaking punt. That wasn't a disaster, okay? You're not going to be perfect. You're going to turn it over every now and then. That turnover wasn't bad, but the 2 fumbles were because it set up scores, and the plays were there to take off, brother, because you got the speed. Move them chains. Heck, maybe it turns into an explosive run.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. Rushing on either Alabama or Tennessee has been difficult this season. Alabama will enter the game with the 8th best rushing defense in the country. Tennessee 11th as far as yards given up per game. Both of them holding opponents to below 90 yards rushing per game. Alabama at 84.5. Tennessee at 89.2. Tennessee's only allowed 5 rushing touchdowns this season. Alabama has only allowed 4 rushing touchdowns this season. So rushing the ball on either side, according to the stats, now stats mean absolutely nothing usually once you get into a game, rushing on them has been difficult on either team.
Well, I mean, Matt Sweatman here, I respect his opinion, and I'm just gonna. He tweeted at me here during the show, and he just said because Richardson put up what numbers he did. We just talked about it.
Right.
That Milroe would do the same thing, and Alabama would win by 30 points. Now, I'm not saying that.
There's something to unpack there, though.
Yeah,
there's something to think about.
I know that Richardson had a great game, and certainly Milroe, the more he plays, I'm sure he'd get a little more consistent.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to say he's going to go on the road and beat this kind of explosive Tennessee offense by 30. Because I'll be honest with you, I knew the Arkansas offense was not that super explosive because they don't have a Traylon Burks anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tennessee's going to have Cedric Tillman back. And he's a great receiver.
And
they got Brew McCoy out there, and they got and then they got my man Jaleel, whatever the hell his name is, that's been playing well. And so they've got 3 good receivers.
Right.
And so
let's get to the phone lines real fast. Wolverine Dan with us right now. Good morning, sir.
Gentlemen, I want to know how we drop a notch in the ratings when we had 7 sacks, scored 31 points, Corum himself ran for 130 and a touchdown. Explain to me how that happened.
Well, it's just because Indiana's not considered to be a good team this year. If they were, then they wouldn't have fallen. But it's kind of like Alabama. A&M came in with a record that with 2 losses already and a considerable underdog, and Alabama turns it over 4 times and still has 400 yards of total offense and wins 24-20, and Alabama drops 2 spots. So
maybe because of maybe it was 10-10 at the half. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean that would be my clue right there is that they knocked him for playing a half of okay football.
Well, we haven't. Since we got in the Big Ten schedule, we haven't played a full game from the front to the back and played exceptionally well. So that concerns me. The defense is getting better. Morris is putting pressure on the quarterback. We did have 7 sacks. JJ, guys, I don't know. JJ could throw the ball, but he has no finesse when it comes to putting a little air underneath it because he overthrows a lot of those long balls. And you know as well as I do, Drew, when you can't complete that long ball consistently, then they'll stack the line and stop your short game, which would be the running and then all those little short passes. So we have a lot to work with. Fellas, the way I see it, Ohio State just is so good right now, and it's at their place. If we are lucky enough, and our barometer will be Michigan State, because if we don't beat them that well as Ohio State has, I think we're going to have a lot of problems with Ohio State in general, period. And I think we could both be undefeated, but the problem is one of us is going to lose. Most likely, the way we see now, I see it, it's going to be us, and then that'll knock us out of the top 4 because what will happen, you'll have a USC or a UCLA or even an Oklahoma State slip in, and they'll be the 4th. What do you think?
Well, we'll see. I'm not as sold on USC yet. They almost blew the game against Oregon State. And, by the way, David Shaw, well, that's just so pathetic. I finally saw the end of that game against Oregon State on Saturday. That's awful, the way they lost that game on basically a Hail Mary. But it wasn't even really a Hail Mary. The guy catches it. The DB doesn't turn his head. And then he turns around and runs away from everybody to score a touchdown with under 10 seconds to go. But I just think right now it's going to come down probably to Ohio State and Michigan. I think the winner will go to the playoff. The loser will probably end up in a Big Six bowl. Oklahoma State's kind of flying under the radar, but they usually have a hiccup or two. We'll see if they can stand prosperity and handle it. I don't know if they will or not. I would watch for TCU because TCU survived Kansas, and that was a crazy atmosphere. And Sonny Dykes has done a great job. They're another under-the-radar team. So, we'll see. I don't know, Dan. USC, UCLA, one of those two, they're going to knock each other off.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised also if there's another hiccup in there somewhere too with SC.
Oregon could run the table, though.
Oregon's dangerous
Oregon
now.
only has that one loss. Oregon could run the table.
Oregon has played much better
since
since losing that and getting eviscerated by Georgia. Yeah. So,
hey Dan, how was the trip to Iowa City?
How was Iowa?
Iowa was wonderful. I had a great time. Very inexpensive. First night we were there, I paid for 5 dinners, 2 pitchers of beer, 4 regular 12-ounces,
and a partridge in a pear tree.
It only ended up by being $68.
Wow! Dang, Scott, $68. No wonder you love that place.
Not all of it's that way, though.
Yeah, and the food was good. The people.
I'm not making fun of it. I'm saying great. No inflation there. Joe hasn't had an impact.
No, dude, it's cool. No, hey, leave it to the Midwest, But here's the deal. It was really cool turning around and waving to the Children's Hospital after the first quarter, and I was on the 50-yard line.
Oh, wow.
I think actually, I had my jersey on, and actually I think Jim looked at me, and he was kind of taking his head, nudging, and saying, "Come on, get in the game. Let's play." So I think he wanted me to play, but I just didn't. I'm an old guy. I don't want to show all these young guys up, so I couldn't.
Nice.
Well, after Michigan scored that first touchdown, they go up 7-0. I actually turned the channel because I was like, "There's no way Iowa could even score 7 points in the real part to even make that a contest." So
it was decent. I'll tell you, fellas. All I know is that Alabama better win this game. And the reason why I say, especially for you two, because you're not going to be able to live with Smokey Mike. But Smokey Mike will be definitely all over you guys.
Well, once every century.
And I want to apologize to Smokey Mike. Jalen Hyde, I don't know why I forgot his last name, but he's a really good player. He had 2 touchdowns last week. Good deep threat.
Well,
dangerous. They got 3 good receivers, man.
It's been a long time coming. Tennessee, it's been that, 98? So that was the year after we won ours. So, it's been a long time coming. We'll see how it plays out, fellas. Listen, all I know is real quickly, after the Iowa game, we had dinner and whatnot. I made an early night. I said, listen, I want to just, hang out in the room and whatnot. And I watched the Auburn-LSU game. Mm-hmm. Very entertaining. Fellas, all I know is this. This is from a Big Ten guy. And if a Big Ten guy tells you or girl tells you that their league, their conference is better than the SEC, they're smoking something. Because the SEC, if there's an SEC game on, I'm going to turn it on because I love to watch your style football.
Right. Well, I'm glad you had a good time.
That's a compliment.
Yeah,
that's a compliment. It's true. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
All
right. No, there you go.
Dan. So we had a good time at Kinnick Stadium.
He did. It's a great place.
$68 for 5 dinners. That's pretty good.
Well, it depends where he ate at, too, though.
Well, it was probably pretty good.
Trust me, inflation has hit Iowa. My parents tell me that all the time. Yeah. So, all right, let's get that first break in. When we come back, phone line's still open to you, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It looks like traffic is moving eastbound on 565 in the Glen Hearn area, but it's moving very slow this morning. Had an accident there. It's been backed up for a while. Everything else accident-wise seems to have been cleared out of the way. You be careful on your ride in. Someone dies from heart disease every 36 seconds. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue can help you keep your heart healthy. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The Braves are on another run at the title, and that starts with the division series. It's a battle of division foes as the Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies square up in the National League Division Series.
In the air towards deep right center field, and that one is gone! Dansby lays the lumber!
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Hi, welcome back. 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. It is Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and we've talked a little bit about Alabama and Tennessee, and we asked that question, how confident are you that Alabama can get through Tennessee and Mississippi State in back-to-back weeks undefeated still, or is a streak going to end? Because Alabama has lengthy streaks, 15 against Tennessee and multiple games against Mississippi State. I want to say Mississippi State's probably up there 13, 14 or something like that. I'd have to look, but I know it's pretty sure it's up there in double digits as well. So are you confident that both streaks continue after the next 2 weeks? 256-576-4977. And so I found this interesting, and this is kind of funny. We just had Jimbo Fisher come through Tuscaloosa, and he was
with a loss,
a coach of the 2017-2018 head coaching cycle in college football. And it's kind of funny to go through some of the coaches in 2017 and 18 to see how these programs and see where they're at today. Remember, in 2017 and 18, Arizona hired Kevin Sumlin to be their head coach.
Yeah, they're still paying him probably.
And he replaced Rich Rodriguez, by the way, who is at Jacksonville State right now.
Right.
And keep in mind, they play UNA or North Alabama Saturday at Toyota Field. Just by the way. Just throw that out there. So that Arizona is in flux. Arkansas in 2017 and 18. This kind of is funny. Chad Morris took over Arkansas in 17 and 18 to replace Brett Bielema,
the boat anchor.
Yeah, I mean we all know. And then in 17 and 18, Dan Mullen was hired at Florida to replace Jim McElwain.
He was, and there was people in the media saying he was going to win a national championship.
And then Florida State.
Maybe as Darth Vader.
Florida State had to replace Jimbo Fisher with Willie Taggart. That started a descent that was, bad. Mississippi State.
This is the under the
Joe
radar
Moorhead,
the esteemed coach of the Akron Zips. That's another team that Tennessee beat.
Nebraska, this was the year they hired Scott Frost in 17-18. He was fired this year.
Yeah.
Ole Miss got rid of Hugh Freeze and hired Matt Luke.
Because they found the burner phone.
In 17 and 18. Some of these I forgot, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Oregon hired Mario Cristobal in 17 and 18.
Yeah, they bumped him up because Willie left after a year.
Yep.
Going 7-5.
Let's see here. Tennessee. This is when they hired Jeremy Pruitt to replace Butch Jones in 17 and 18. Seems like it was just a couple years ago, but 17 and 18 is when they hired Jeremy Pruitt.
Mm-hmm. And they're still digging out of that, but Heipel's done a great job.
And then, of course, Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher hired in 2017 and 18 to replace Kevin Sumlin.
And do worse.
And the Athletic regraded that hire. At first, the original grades were an A-, 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 and those were the grades that everybody was giving Texas A&M for hiring Jimbo Fisher at the time. They have regraded that to a B.
How in the hell is it a B? It should be no better than a C when you're losing 4 and 5 games a year. You've had one good year in 5. Your record right now at the same time, I think, of someone is now one game worse. And you got rid of George Jefferson.
Yeah, someone's record. Did you say George
Well, that's
Jefferson?
the way he strutted around after Johnny Boy pulled one out of his butt. And Johnny Boy's on Twitter, criticizing the last play call, and I thought, Johnny, somebody ought to tell you about the rest of your career after your sophomore year at A&M, bro. It was toilet. It would be a bad reality show.
Yes, Johnny Manziel did criticize. I believe he called it. What did he call that? I thought I had it here, but yeah,
I just know he was being really critical on Twitter, which he has no business doing because, he was a huge flop as a pro. Now, he was a really good college player, but he also was a train wreck off the field even in college, so he doesn't need to be criticizing anybody. But he was probably drunk again.
So Josh Heipel goes from UCF to Tennessee in that same year, 2017. Or he goes from wherever he goes to UCF in 2017 and 18. Josh Heipel does. And the original grades of him replacing Scott Frost was a C, C-, and C. After he left UCF, if they're regrading it today, they'd give him a B+ for everything that he did at Central Florida. So that is why a lot of reasons why Josh Heipel is having that success at Tennessee. Undervalued hire at Central Florida, an undervalued hire at Tennessee, and it's proven to have great results at Tennessee. By the way, though, in case you are wondering, Saturday is only the second time in college football history that there will be 3 matchups of teams 5-0 or better on the same day.
Oh, wow.
You got 5-0 Penn State, 5-0 Michigan, or 6-0 Michigan, 6-0 Alabama, 5-0 Tennessee, and 5-0 Oklahoma State at 5-0 TCU.
And Dan, he didn't seem worried about Penn State. He was talking about Ohio State. So obviously he thinks the Michigan Wolverines are going to whip James Franklin's Penn State Nittany Lions. Where's the game?
I believe you know what? I had Michigan's schedule pulled up here. It is at home, Ann Arbor.
Yeah. So I would think Michigan would be the favorite.
All right. So yesterday, obviously, it is another week of everybody getting ready for another busy Saturday. That does include Alabama. And let me see here. Why is that not? Q will be clear. I just want to play this. Here we go. Here is Alabama head coach Nick Saban.
Work on, evaluate personnel, evaluate consistency and performance, evaluate, priority of getting your job done the right way, so that we can have a little more consistency, in our performance. We didn't take advantage of opportunities when we had them, in the last game, and that's certainly something that's going to catch up with you. Players have to understand you got to do things to keep from losing before you can think about winning, which is, turning the ball over, making mental errors, not reading things correctly so that we can execute plays the way they're designed. And that's something that we, as a whole, as an organization, need to do a better job of working together with the players and the coaches so that we can do a better job of getting that right. We're going to play a really good Tennessee team. This game means a lot to a lot of people in Alabama. It's kind of a rivalry game, and it's always been an important game for us. Tennessee's got an outstanding team. They're undefeated. Josh has done a really, really good job there. Probably one of the most explosive offenses, if not the most explosive offense, in the country. They've got really good wide receivers. 4 guys have lots of production. They've got 2 really good running backs, lots of production. The quarterback, Hooker is, really done a nice job of executing their offense. He's one of the leading pass efficiency guys in the country, as well as has the ability to extend plays and make plays with his feet. He's a very good athlete all the way around, and has had an outstanding year. Their defense is, one of the top defensive teams, especially in terms of creating negative plays and making people difficult for them to score. 17 points a game is, really good and one of the tops in the SEC. And they're always really solid with their specialists and on special teams. So this is a really, really good team, a real challenge for us. And our priority has to be, we got to get it right ourselves, and so that we do a better job of putting ourselves in positions of having a chance to be successful. And when we do that, we got to take advantage of it.
That's Alabama head coach Nick Saban.
I mean, they do. I mean, Tennessee has a lot of weapons. The most weapons Alabama has seen. Best offense easily. Somebody asked me that yesterday. Is this the best defense Tennessee's seen? I said, yeah, easily. And he said, is this the best offense Alabama's seen? I was like, absolutely, easily. Texas was good offensively, especially when Ewers was in there, but he got hurt. And no, I mean, Tennessee is better. They got better receivers because basically Texas had, Xavier Worthy. A couple other guys made plays, but they got Jalen Hyatt. And then they're going to have Tillman back. Tillman should be back. I think he's going to be. I mean, I know he's had the tightrope surgery like Tua did, and he's been out for a couple weeks. I think he'll play in this game. We'll see how effective he is, but he's certainly made plays. Brew McCoy's coming off his best game of all. He's finally looking like a semblance of the 5-star talent he was supposed to be. So, and then again, it's all the maestro is Hendon Hooker, who's a Heisman candidate and who is one of the top 2 quarterbacks along with Bryce in the SEC. Yes, better than Stetson Bennett. So I just think overall, I mean, they got a lot of weapons. Their O-line has been better than I thought it would be. Been pretty good. And then, Coach Saban was just talking about Jabari Small, and he's coming off of arguably his best game of the year. Did a really good job. And so they've got a little bit more depth there this year. So they have a good team, no doubt about it. And I think Alabama's going to have to tackle well. A lot of it is going to be because when they have a guy like Jalen Wright now who can complement Small. They're going to have to tackle well in space though, because first of all, Tennessee's going to go fast. They don't ever slow down.
Right.
Even late in the game, things of that nature. It's just constant. They're the fastest offense in the country. So, but the one good thing is with Gus Malzahn doing a lot of that during his time at Auburn, they have seen this stuff. But again, it's still a difficult matchup because they're going to go fast. The only thing is if Alabama can get some stops, and I started thinking about this, if Alabama is going to win this game in Knoxville, I think they need 1 to 2 turnovers, because getting 1 to 2 turnovers from Hendon Hooker is like getting 3 or 4. Because he doesn't ever do it. He did throw one of his 2 interceptions against Alabama last year. He did have a couple fumbles that probably should have been turnovers against LSU, but Tennessee was Johnny on the spot, and LSU didn't take advantage of opportunities. But Alabama needs to get 1 to 2 turnovers, probably needs 5 stops in this game.
Get off the field on 3rd down.
Well, but they won't every time because it's, again, they're tough to stop. I think
Alabama is number 2 in the country in 3rd down in opponents.
I understand, but Tennessee, this is the best offense they've played.
Okay.
I think they need 5 to 6 stops, which would mean roughly 3 per half with the speed that Tennessee and the tempo that they play with.
Right.
If they can get 5 to 6 stops, including a turnover in that mix, and hold Tennessee in the 20s, because they're not going to shut Tennessee down, then I think Alabama can win the game and even win it comfortably. But if it gets to the point where it's 4 stops or less and they don't force a turnover and Tennessee's tempo is working and they're throwing the ball vertically down the field and because they're going to test Alabama's corners, then this is going to turn into LSU, Alabama in 2019, and Alabama lost that game 46-41.
It's going to be one of those Maylocks games where it's going to
turn into a Wild West shootout. Okay, and so that's the way. If Tennessee's going to win this game, it's going to be like that. To me, it's going to be a Wild West shootout, and they're going to end up scoring in the 40s. And Alabama can't have that. Alabama needs to assert itself defensively, rush the passer. Get Hooker on the ground a few times. Hit him. I mean, he's a competitor. He's going to make some plays, but you've got to make some yourself, and you've got to get 3 or 4 sacks. You've got to be disruptive, because if you're not, this dude's going to kill you.
256-576-4977. That's how you can get in on the show this morning. And hopefully we don't see any of those bad calls that we've seen in the NFL
the
past few days. come around.
I mean,
in the college
the
football
Tom
world.
Brady one. I mean, he just got his own set of rules. We're watching it right here. I mean, that because he slammed him too hard or something. Though Brady can kick him in the cods, they're not going to call anything on that. But you know, whatever. And then the one with Chris Jones last night, he stripped the friggin' ball, and they said he came down with his weight. Shut up and fix this rule. It's physics. You're going to come down on somebody every now and then. This is completely asinine. You've gone over the top, just like you did when you first called targeting, and you could overturn targeting, but you still get a penalty. Even though it's not targeting, it's still 15 yards because we're a bunch of retards who didn't know what we were doing when we put the rule in, so we got to go back and fix it because we're a bunch of dumbasses. Obviously, some of them are liberals. They don't understand football's a contact sport.
Oh, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll talk more about the NFL and where it's at. Plus, get to your phone calls.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It looks like traffic is moving eastbound on 565 in the Glen Hern area, but it's moving very slow this morning. Had an accident there. It's been backed up for a while. Everything else accident-wise seems to have been cleared out of the way. You be careful on your ride in. Someone dies from heart disease every 36 seconds. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue can help you keep your heart healthy. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down? And maybe you haven't been getting the exercise you need. If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns, to problems with muscle gain and bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction. And if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Huntsville Men's Clinic, we've treated many men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how low testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 256-368-0333. That's 256-368-0333. Or go to HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. That's HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Listen to Buckhorn High School football all season long.
Landrum down near the goal line, and he's in for the Bucks touchdown.
On 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
That is the sound of College Game Day, and College Game Day, of course, will be live from Knoxville, Tennessee again on Saturday. Alabama, Tennessee, 2:30 kickoff in Neyland Stadium. Of course, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, the home of Alabama football, so we'll have that game for you.
And don't forget, the last time it was in Neyland, the erroneous report came out about Steve Spurrier being the guest picker. Remember that?
Everybody thought that was going to happen.
And then there's another fake report last night about Lee Corso passing away, and they were going to cancel game day. I don't know where these idiots come up with this stuff.
But why you even come up with that?
I don't know. I mean, it catches fire. All these morons to start, putting it out there. Oh, no, how can this happen? Y'all are all idiots. You know what I'm saying? That put out these kind of rumors and put credence all to this stuff. You people are stupid. I mean, I'm like, they're not canceling game day. And Coach Corso has missed a couple of weeks with health.
Yeah,
but
he
good
has.
Lord. I mean, give me a break here with all this stuff. I mean, it's just ridiculous, some of these reports that go out on social media, and it catches wildfire. And people, I mean, I didn't know anything about it, and I was on Twitter last night, and then you start seeing all these, what's this about? What's that about on social media? And I just searched Lee Corso. I said, surely not. And then, of course not. It's just a bunch of dumbass meta muffins.
Meta muffins.
Exactly. I'm a Dukes of Hazzard fan, so that's what they're doing. Just a bunch of idiots going out there spreading rumors that aren't even true. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Second time in 3 weeks that game day will be in Knoxville.
But again, the guest picker, it wasn't Steve Spurrier the last time, and it won't be this time. Who knows who it'll be? It'll probably be Peyton Manning or somebody. But I mean,
to me, that would be a lot. I mean,
or Heath Schuler. Who knows?
Last quarterback to beat Alabama. Who is the last Tennessee quarterback to beat Alabama? Who was it?
It was in 2006. So it was that game was in Knoxville. Let me think, because I was thinking that
Smokey, do you remember?
Because
I believe it is one Rick Clausen.
I was going to say, was it the younger brother? Because Casey was done in like 01 or 02.
Iceman was done in 02, 03.
Because Rick transferred from LSU.
Rick was part of the, what was it, Monday Night Miracle that was LSU.
Yeah. I think it was Rick Clausen.
Oh, wait, never mind. Ainge.
It was Eric?
Eric
He was still there?
Ainge.
Oh.
Eric Ainge, the last quarterback.
I just remember that that it was a decently close game. Alabama had a chance. Simeon Castile was trying to recover a fumble. Well, he did recover a fumble or whatever, but he didn't. He wasn't able to house it or whatnot. And of course, Tennessee held on and won. And it was in Knoxville. It was the year after the ugly 6-3 game. So
yeah, of course, Tennessee's had a couple here and there chances within this 15-game win streak to stop said streak.
They've had at least 2 golden opportunities.
But there's been more blowouts.
2009, the Mount Cody block, and then 2015, Tennessee led in the middle of the fourth quarter before Derrick Henry scored, and then Tennessee had a late turnover to seal it. And then Jimmy brought up, I think it was the 18 game where we saw, it was, I guess it was. It was either 17 or 19. I guess it was probably 19. 19 where Trevon Diggs took the fumble back 100 yards. But I never thought Tennessee.
You mean when Garantano went all Leroy
Jenkins? But I don't even – that would have cut it to like one score, but I never thought that Tennessee – I never had a feeling that Tennessee was going to win that game.
Yeah.
In 9 and 15, they definitely had chances. There's no question about that.
Well, still, though, this is the 104th meeting, by the way, between the two teams.
Yeah.
Alabama does lead the all-time series 59-37-7. There's been 7 ties in the series.
It's been a streaky series. And last year, Tennessee did lead 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. It was a close game. It was only a 10-point game at the end of the third quarter, but you still felt like Alabama was going to pull away and win, even though Tennessee played hard and played pretty good. Like I say, there's been twice during this series where there was doubt to me, and it was ironic. Both of them were in Tuscaloosa. It was 2009 when Alabama led 12-3, but then Tennessee forced a rare Mark Ingram fumble. They scored and then went and got the onside kick, and then were driving, and then the Mount Cody block happened, and then in 15 when they hung around, but Alabama responded and had a gut check drive. Coker made some nice throws to Ardarius Stewart. Henry took it in, and then they forced the late turnover. But we'll see. I mean, I think this is Tennessee's best chance in a good while.
All right.
Since then.
Yeah. That's our hour break. We're going to put 60 on the clock. We're going to be back. We're going to do it again for another 60 minutes. This time we're going to talk Atlanta Braves baseball. We got to get some baseball in.
Yeah, but Braves kick it off today.
Going to start that run for another World Series championship. They've got the core together. How good can this core be? And what's the World Series expectations now that the Braves have a huge core signed to long-term deals? Bill Shanks will join us next.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill. Humphreys is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials: $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints, $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill.
YKTA wants you to join their team. YKTA is currently adding machine maintenance and die maintenance positions to their fast-growing company. YKTA has new improved work schedules with built-in days off. Pay range is $25 to $33 based on experience and additional shift differential. And YKTA has opportunities for increased pay above top range through advanced skills training. Apply today at yktal.com/careers. YKTA is an equal opportunity employer.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We should be operating with a clean slate now. Everything accident-wise moved out of the way. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong around you. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon, maybe a slight increase in cloud cover as we head into the evening. Temperatures climbing consistently into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Dropping into the low 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Wednesday morning. A couple of scattered showers are going to be possible through Wednesday afternoon. The best opportunity for rain is going to come Wednesday night and then through the earliest hours of Thursday morning. Upper 70s on Wednesday, mid and upper 70s on Thursday. Much cooler as we head into Friday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
After a long, hot summer, there's nothing quite like the cool, crisp mornings of fall in Huntsville, Alabama. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's time to get out there. Whether it's hunting, camping, boating, biking, or kayaking, we've got the F-150 to take you there. It's truck month at Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got 2022 F-150s in stock on the lot, ready for your driveway today. And with your good credit, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 60 months. This offer ends 10/31. Being the best-selling truck in America for 44 years in a row is no small feat. But I promise you, if you come drive an F-150, you'll understand. Woody Anderson Ford has nearly 100 F-150s to choose from and lots of colors and option packages. One of these is right for you. Truck month at Woody Anderson Ford. Exceptional deals on all our trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. And a great selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles. Woody Anderson Ford, corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, it's hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. A lot of football talk there in hour number 1 because, well, we got a lot of big games going on this weekend, especially that Alabama-Tennessee game. We'll break more football down as the week goes along, and we'll talk more SEC football, high school football, NFL football as we kind of chug along through the week. But tonight, here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, the Atlanta Braves begin the defense of that World Series championship, and you can hear all of it right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Just download the app as well, because you never know where the Atlanta Braves are going to be.
A early first pitch today. It's going to be at noon Central. The Braves will be at Truist Park taking on the Phillies. They beat in that series 11-8, but it was a tightly contested one. I believe the Braves only outscored the Phillies by 3 runs during that regular season series, so it should be a very interesting matchup. It's a best of 5, and we're going to break it down with our next guest, and you can hear his show each Monday through Friday from 2 to 6, and it's on the superstations.com. You can listen in our market, and of course, it's the one and only Bill Shanks, the Bill Shanks Show. Best Braves info out there, and he's been kind enough to join us on the morning of the first game, and we know he will be right there front and center covering the Atlanta Braves today, and Bill is with us now. Good morning, Bill.
Hey, I'm on my way.
Exactly.
Can I say one thing football wise?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, roll. It's your stage, man.
Look, I'm really rooting for Alabama this week, and here's why. Because if Tennessee were to win this game on Saturday,
right,
and then they were to beat Kentucky in a couple of weeks, I'm going to get so nauseous of that damn song coming in on November the 5th when they would be undefeated in Athens. I might be worse than a Mets fan this morning. So please, Nick Saban, cut them down to size a little bit before they get to Athens, because I don't think. I mean, I used to like Brenda Lee, but I don't like her anymore.
And hey, I'm glad you brought the Mutts into the conversation, though. Always good to watch them go down in flames in the playoffs, Bill.
Oh man, I tell you, unbelievable. I thought the Padres were going to be tough for them, and they were, and they just can't hit. They weren't able to hit against the Braves in that series 2 weeks ago, and they continued their struggles. And it reminded you of what you have to do in the playoffs, and that is you've got to hit great pitching. here are the Braves now getting ready to take on Rangers Suarez, who they saw 5 times this year, and of course then it'll be Zach Wheeler and then Aaron Nola. And yeah, that's a daunting task to have to deal with them, but the Phillies have got to deal with Max Fried and Kyle Wright, a 21-game winner, and Charlie Morton and perhaps Spencer Strider. And so that's what you have to do in the playoffs. You have to hit great pitching, and the Mets, they couldn't hit mediocre pitching, much less great pitching.
Yeah, we're going to find out now, because this is the new playoff-style format, and we haven't seen how teams react to having basically a bye and having a few days of rest. We're going to see not just with the Braves, but we're going to see it with the Dodgers, and we're going to see it with the Yankees. We're going to see it with everybody else as well, but we're going to find out how teams adjust to having that downtime.
Well, and I tell you, I was real leery of that, of wondering how, the rest versus rust conversation, and you've been at such a high speed, a high pace for so long, and then you have to push balls. But I tell you, I have compared this season of 2021 to the 1993 season for the last couple of months. In 1993, the Braves were down by 10 games to the San Francisco Giants. They went on a torrid run of playing. They were 51-17 in their final 68 games, and they won the division with 104 wins over the Giants, who had 103, and that was the year before the wild card started. And you know what? The Braves were so tired because they had to go all the way to the end of the season to win the division to make it, that they were worn out when they played the Philadelphia Phillies. And so look at the parallels to this season. Braves were 10.5 back at the Mets. They had to have a torrid pace to win the division and to get in this position they're in, have the home field advantage, have the bye. And so now I think that because of that, this rest is going to help them a little bit. I hope it will. And I know they were worn out last week. They were. And I think it also gave Spencer Strider a few more days to get that oblique ready, which by all accounts, he's going to be ready to go in some capacity in this series.
Yeah, and Bill, I know you mentioned him potentially for Game 4. If you were Snit, I know you know Snit very well. Y'all are good friends. Would you start him in Game 4, or would you use him maybe in long relief?
Well, I'll tell you what I would do. Now, I don't know if they're going to do this. I would probably, considering the fact that Spencer has not pitched in a couple of weeks, I would use him in long relief in 2 or 3 games in this series. I would, and I would kind of have him on hold. All right, if something happens where one of the 3 starters goes out early,
right,
I'm going to bring Spencer in to kind of put the fire out, because the Phillies could not touch this kid this year at all. I mean, he was 4-0 with a 1.27 ERA against Philadelphia, so he had their number. Now, you could use that approach and hope that you don't have to have him, and then if you got into a situation where you wanted to, let's say you wanted to close it out in Game 4 in Philadelphia and you had not used him, then I would go ahead and use him as a starter in Game 4 and see what that would do. And then you can bring Max back in Game 5 in Atlanta. So I'm going to be comfortable with either one of those scenarios. It's probably going to depend more than anything, Drew, on how he feels. If he feels like, hey, I can go 4, I could go maybe 5, even though I haven't been stretched out. He's a weird dude now. Not weird, but he's an odd character as far as what he can do physically. And I wouldn't put it past him, even being out for a couple of weeks, to being able to start a game and go in 5 innings. He's that capable.
And you alluded to him just a few minutes ago, Kyle Wright. What a phenomenal regular season. Now he tries to take that into the postseason.
Well, and he did fight against the Phillies this year as well. He had good games against the Phillies, and I think the confidence level for Kyle continues to be at a high level. You're a 21-game winner. We saw him last year in the highest circumstance possible for a baseball player in Game 4 of the World Series, go out there and shut down a tremendous offense in Houston. So I'm excited for Kyle. Can't wait to see him tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're really excited for him as well. And how excited are you that the Braves locked up Strider this early, Bill?
Well, I mean, it's unbelievable, and I think in some cases, Drew, I would be a little weary of locking someone up this early. But again, this kid's different, man. He's just, I mean, they found something here, and we've gone in a few months from wondering if he was a starter or a reliever, and having some real significant conversations about that to see him being locked up to be a starting pitcher for this team. So I love it. I think it's great. I mean, I saw enough to convince me that he's going to be fine, and I think he's already had Tommy John surgery, so in a way you don't worry about that as much. And I love it. I think it's a great move.
Now the Braves have pretty much this entire young core locked up to long-term deals. They got a World Series last year. They head into the postseason playing some of the best baseball in the majors. I guess now then the expectations with this core.
Well, I mean, I think they're set up for a tremendous run for the rest of this decade. I mean, it's a great situation to have young players that you have seen at the highest level play in a World Series and to go from there. I mean, you have to compare it to kind of the mid-'90s after the Braves had won the World Series in '95, and they had Chipper Jones and Andrew Jones and Ryan Klesko and Javi Lopez, and of course they had the 3 Hall of Fame pitchers. It's very similar to that. And look, that team went on from '96 through 2005 for 10 more years after they won the World Series to win 10 more division titles. I'll take 10 more division titles, and look, I know we wish that team back in the '90s had won more than one World Series. Well, that doesn't mean that this team won't, and this core won't do that. So I'm excited. I think we've got a great decade of baseball ahead, and who knows who may join the fray as a free agent from New York later on this winter.
That would be something if they pulled another Maddox with DeGrom. I know you've hinted that the Braves, would perhaps be interested in him, and he would be interested in coming to Atlanta. I think the consensus seems to be he won't go back to the Mutts, so we will see about that. Before we ask you about the potential roster, I will ask you this. It's the only negative part of the conversation, just because it could still turn into a positive even later today, but your gut feeling on Dansby.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I just had a thought. Wouldn't it be great if Dansby told Alex, "Hey, look, let's don't announce our deal until right before the game, so everybody will be all excited about it."
That's great. Yeah.
But I'm not optimistic about Dansby. I think since he's obviously, it looks like he's going to, file for free agency unless the deal is done. I don't think they do anything past today. So, and if it's not done before 1 o'clock, I think he's going to be a free agent. And I just, Drew, I never feel good when there's a player who files for free agency and is on the open market. They're going to want to see what they can get, and I think Dansby is curious about that, so he may need to go find that out. And the thing, though, that I think he needs to remember, that I'm sure is very clear to him, he went to Vanderbilt, so he can't be a dummy, is that, Alex Anthopoulos is not going to wait around. And if he has a chance to get someone else to play shortstop, he's going to get it done. So I'm not optimistic about it, but look, I'm hoping that in the end his love for this team and his love for being at home is going to win out.
Well, and speaking of that, too, it entwines into the roster. Vaughn Grissom showed a lot and was really a spark plug down the stretch until Arcia came back. Do we expect Vaughn on the roster? And then in your mind, if Dansby moves on, did he show enough to be given a chance to be the shortstop next year?
Well, I think he'll be on the roster today. And I've read a lot and heard a lot of talk about the fact that people don't think that Vaughn Grissom could take over at shortstop. I don't know why. I didn't see anything to make me feel like he can't play shortstop. He played shortstop all year long in the minor league. And then, I did hear people, and someone told me even before he got called up that he's probably more of a second baseman than a shortstop. But I didn't see anything that made me think he's unable to play the position. So I don't know which direction they go. You know, and look, that might depend on DeGrom. If they think, well, heck, if we save money on shortstop and you know, get DeGrom, we're going to be a better team by having Vaughn at short and getting Ozzie back, obviously, next year at second base and going in that direction where our pitching is just lights out. Maybe that's the direction they go. But I you know, we'll see. But I don't know why Vaughn couldn't play shortstop. I mean, now, would I be surprised if they talked to Trey Turner or Carlos Correa, who they liked a lot? I mean, they almost signed Carlos Correa in March, and I don't know what the heck they would have done with Dansby, but he almost got signed in March. They talked very, very extensively with Scott Boras about Carlos Correa. You know, yeah, they could do that, certainly, but I don't know why Vaughn Grissom should be looked at as an alternative.
What is your feeling, or what I should say, what does you feel? What is your feeling then on this Philadelphia series? Is it going to be one of the? I mean, it's a best of 5 series. Does it go 4-3, or does it go the full 5?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 5, and I'll tell you this, Scott. I mean, look, I think the biggest thing in the Braves factor is the home field advantage.
Yeah,
clearly, I really do. I mean. You know, you remember all the talk back when they were in Turner Field about the number of teams that celebrated on the Turner Field turf, and the Braves just could not win a series at home. I mean, I'm sure it'll happen one day, but I just find it hard right now to believe the Braves are going to lose a series at home. And that's what has been created at the Battery. It's a tremendous environment for that team, and they're sold out today, sold out tomorrow. God knows if they had a Game 5 on Sunday, it would be sold out as well. So, this is going to be tough. The Phillies are a very good team, but look, the Braves played so much better than the Phillies all year. The Phillies kind of limped into the playoffs. They were a couple of games under 500 in September, and still were better than the Brewers that just did not play very well at all. So I feel good about this series. I think it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. Am I going to be shocked if the Phillies win it? No, but I mean, I think the Braves are the better team, so I guess that should make it be somewhat shocking. But Philadelphia's got one of the main ingredients of winning in the postseason, and that is they've got that starting pitching. They've got Nola, Wheeler, and Suarez. But look, that experience the Atlanta Braves got last year, I mean, you can't discard that either. I mean, there's just a lot of things in the Braves' favor, I think, in this series. I always think about the old Jimmy the Greek board on the NFL Today where he used to put everything up there and give checks of who had the advantages. And you know what? The Braves have more than the Phillies in this series.
Well, and Bill, we're going to find out the playoff roster in just a little bit. We've already thought, you told us you think Vaughn Grissom's going to make it. Ozuna swung the bat well late. Do you think he's on the roster? Could he DH? I mean, and then I think it was huge that Matt Olson swung the bat so well late in his last 9-10 games. But how do you see the roster shaping up?
Well, it'll be interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of surprise on the roster. But, I hope Ozuna is on there. And I know people don't like him and they're pissed at him, and I understand all of that. He was swinging the bat better in September. He was much better. And I tell you, especially, I'd have him in the lineup today against Suarez in a heartbeat. I mean, I just think that right-handed power, because you got to remember one thing among the many, Adam Duvall's right-handed power and the spread that he possessed is not that lineup. Well, Ozuna could replace that, and wouldn't it be great if, in fact, Marcell Ozuna got a big hit and was a hero in one of these series in the postseason?
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's going to be really interesting, and it's going to start today at noon, and Bill Shanks is on his way to cover it, and it'll be a huge topic of conversation on the Bill Shanks Show this week. Bill, we always appreciate the time. Safe travels, and we look forward to your coverage, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Drew. Take care.
Bill Shanks with us. Good stuff there, the Atlanta Braves. Of course, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, your home for postseason baseball and Atlanta Braves baseball. Make sure you download the app today so you can have the power of Atlanta Braves baseball in the palm of your hands today. You can listen to it on the go. You can listen to it wherever you are. It's Atlanta Braves baseball right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And how cool would it be? I mean, really, it was kind of the postseason a couple seasons ago. Not last postseason, but
right.
Remember Kyle Wright had that great series against I believe it was the Texas, was it the Rangers? Or no, it wasn't. It was in the Rangers ballpark, but it was against the Dodgers, I believe.
Yeah, well, he stepped up last year huge in the World Series.
Yes, but then that led into last year's postseason performance.
Yeah, he because he had retooled in AAA for much of last year when he struggled early in the season, and then due to some performance issues and due to some injuries, he got his shot in the World Series, and he gave them 5 really good innings. And really, got them. Were able to set the bullpen up, and it really was kind of a watershed moment for the Braves to be able to win a championship. And it showed Atlanta that letting him stay in AAA for the majority of the season, reset himself, and then put him on the playoff roster and give him a chance to pitch. And he had done it last year in the playoffs, but then struggled again at the start of the regular season last year with his command a little bit. But he finally, he'd been so dominant on every level, high school, college at Vanderbilt, where he started out as a closer and then became a starter and then became a top 10 pick in a draft. And then it was just a gradual process in the pros. The hardest thing to do in baseball is to become a major league player and stay. Because there's so much competition. That high level, unlike football and basketball, to me, that of the 3 major sports, it's the hardest, just because there is so much competition. You got so many. There's the you go overseas, you sign kids as free agents when they're 16 years old, like a Ronald Acuna or an Andrew Jones.
Yeah.
You draft guys. It's just there's junior college players. There's high school players. There's kids that like a Kyle Wright who go to Vanderbilt, which is in the toughest league in America, in the SEC. But it's very hard to do, to get up there and become. And what I mean is a really good player. Someone that plays like a Craig Kimbrell and can get and play 15 years in the major leagues. That's the hardest thing to do, in my opinion, in professional sports, because baseball is the toughest of the 3, in my opinion. And so what Kyle Wright's done is he's established himself this year as a bona fide top 3 starter in a rotation, which to me is extremely tough to do. That and becoming a regular major league player. Because even Dansby Swanson, he was the number 1 overall pick, Scott. He was one of the greatest hot college players I ever saw at Vanderbilt. Yeah. And it's took him till this year to really be considered a frontline shortstop. And last year too. But I'm just saying, he's built on it this season. And now he's about to cash in free agency. Yeah. But before these last 2 years, there was people being critical. He can't hit well enough. Yada, yada, yada. Is he a frontline, all-star caliber shortstop? This year was the first year he made the all-star team. It's just hard. It's very hard in the major leagues.
You bring up Andrew Jones. How cool is this, though? On October 16th, I stumbled upon this. On Saturday, October 16th, at Rickwood Field in Birmingham. Of course, that is the oldest ballpark in America. Andrew Jones, along with Desmond Jennings, Brandon Moss, and Seth Smith, they're going to have a home run derby contest inside Rickwood Field. It's like $15 to go do it, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's going to be in Birmingham. So you can go see Andrew Jones still
there you go.
hit the long ball.
And his son was the first pick in the draft because I'm old.
If you're old, then I'm old. I'm
or second pick. I'm sorry. I think he actually went second it was first or second. Second. He was second. Yeah, because the Baltimore drafted the shortstop kid. So yeah. And then his son went second.
We got to get a break.
Jeff Blauser's son was on the team too. It just shows.
There's a lot of former big time guys that are in there. What is going on at Auburn? They got Ole Miss next. Brian Matthews with us as well.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We should be operating with a clean slate now. Everything accident-wise moved out of the way. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong around you. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
After a long hot summer, there's nothing quite like the cool, crisp mornings of fall in Huntsville, Alabama. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's time to get out there. Whether it's hunting, camping, boating, biking, or kayaking, we've got the F-150 to take you there. It's truck month at Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got 2022 F-150s in stock on the lot, ready for your driveway today. And with your good credit, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 60 months. This offer ends 10/31. Being the best-selling truck in America for 44 years in a row is no small feat. But I promise you, if you come drive an F-150, you'll understand. Woody Anderson Ford has nearly 100 F-150s to choose from and lots of colors and option packages. One of these is right for you. Truck month at Woody Anderson Ford. Exceptional deals on all our trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. And a great selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles. Woody Anderson Ford, corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Two Maids and a Mop. That's all you need to know to clean house. Two Maids and a Mop is an award-winning company, bonded and insured. Hire them for yourself, or they have gift cards if you want to make someone else's day. Find out more online at twomaidshuntsville.com. A maid service worth talking about. Two Maids and a Mop take care of everything. They supply all the cleaning equipment needed. Call 256-883-6243. The only finger you'll need to lift is the one to call them.
The Huntsville Sports Commission, a not-for-profit organization, is driven by the love of sports. And we're excited to announce several events already planned for this fall, including the Gulf South Conference Soccer Championship, the AVCA Fall Collegiate Beach Championships, the NCAA Division I Regional Cross Country Championship, and the Running Lane Cross Country Championships. For the love of sports, the Huntsville Sports Commission. Find out more at huntsvillesports.org.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. The Auburn Tigers went on the road Saturday, faced an uphill battle against Georgia. And they fought, but obviously I don't want to say we knew the outcome going in, but unless Auburn spectacularly played the best ball game of the season by far. It was going to be another tough day and another tough outing for the Tigers, and it was. This week they turned their attention to the Ole Miss Rebels. Going to be another tough task for Auburn, as this one is on, I believe it's on the road. So
yes, it's
another tough environment, another tough task for the Auburn Tigers. Yeah,
they're playing the unbeaten Ole Miss Rebels, no doubt about it. Ole Miss, wasn't pretty in Nashville against Vanderbilt, but they found a way to win the game going away and scored 50-plus points. They're a very dangerous offensive team. They run the ball very, very well. Jackson Dart's improved, I think, incrementally at quarterback. He's not taking a huge leap. They have a good offensive line, and this is an Auburn team that's struggling offensively. We know that, especially running the football. Defensively, I think they've started to show some signs, but as our next guest wrote, and he's since 2001 covered the Auburn Tigers, he's part of the Rivals Network, auburnsports.com. Some questionable coaching decisions has not helped this football team and really kind of put their defense in a bind, even though they were playing really well early in that shutout first quarter against Georgia. And we're going to talk about that and talk about his thoughts after watching the game in Athens. And that's, of course, our good friend Brian Matthews, who is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Brian, welcome back to Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I read your Monday Musings column, and I agree, though. I mean, I still don't understand on a 4th and 6 when your defense is playing well. You want to slow the game down. You don't want to get in a track meet with Georgia. Why you fake that punt?
Yep. And really, if you look, even if it worked, Auburn just has a first down. It's on 40. It's probably punting, from the 45 3 plays later, right?
Right. Yeah. There's no guarantee you score. Right.
Right. It's not like you were in plus territory or anything. And, as I wrote about that play in particular, was asking Jaleel Irvin, who is, I guess, technically the number 4 center on the team, right? Because Auburn's down to their 3rd center, and even though he was a backup center, he hasn't been the starting guy except for a little time, coming in relief. So they asked him to block Nolan, All-American linebacker Nolan Smith, I think.
That's right.
In space, right? That's something that he's not going to do 9 out of 10 times, maybe 10 out of 10 times. It just doesn't make sense. And then afterwards, Harsin was talking about how it was drawn up perfectly. We picked the perfect time. We just didn't execute. I would have to disagree. That's just not putting a player in position to make a play. It's not recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of your team. And this team is a mess right now from a personnel standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, from a coaching standpoint. There's very little you can point to that's going right for Auburn going into this game at Ole Miss, where it's the final game before a bye week, and certainly Harsin is definitely as all hot a seat as possible.
Yeah, and yesterday when asked about how do you fix the second half woes of this team, his first words out of his mouth were, "I don't know."
Yeah, that's because, let me tell you why, because they don't have any foundational plays. They don't have any running play that they can run and feel comfortable doing. Nothing. They don't run the outside zone or inside zone or power or anything good. It's all bad. And they keep trying to switch things around based on the opponent. And, the offensive linemen look like they don't know what the heck they're doing out there, just totally missing blocks and assignments. It's just, it's a complete mess. It's clear that Harsin and his staff are completely in over their heads and incapable of coaching at this level, and certainly incapable of recruiting at this level. And it's just a matter of time before the curtain's drawn on their era here. But I'm afraid Auburn is going to be worse off 2 years after he was hired than they were, back in 2020, when Gus was let go. And it's going to be a little bit harder now for the next person to bring this team back up to championship level, or contention at least.
Well, and you bring up a good point, Brian, because at least Gus Malzahn, I know he was criticized and for his play calling at times, but at least he was comfortable with who his football team was and what they wanted to be. And, of course, they wanted to run the football. They wanted to play action off of it. They wanted to be an up-tempo offense. He had a vision for that. He did get away from it a little bit with the style of quarterback, but still running the football was the foundation. They had so many 1,000-yard rushers there. They just really don't I personally, I think it's criminal what's happened to Tank Bigsby.
Me too. I mean, in retrospect, he should have transferred, and he didn't have a chance. 10 carries, 19 yards against Georgia. Every time they got the ball, there was somebody or two somebodies in the backfield just about. It's just, no chance for him. Zero. And, it's got to be frustrating for a guy who's going to be drafted in the NFL, was a all-SEC preseason pick, is really talented, the most talented back in Auburn's Kerryon Johnson, for sure. And here he is. He can't do anything, He can't get out of the backfield half the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that just takes a special kind of bad to be able to have a guy like Tank Bigsby and not be able to feature him and find a way to get him, as your number one attack target in an offense, right? I mean, they can't come up with one foundational run they can execute properly and give him the ball and have some success. Not one. It's just a complete failure on this coaching staff.
And I also feel bad for Robbie Ashford thrown into this situation as a starting quarterback because of injury, because of TJ Finley, no Zach Calzada. And, I mean, you're trying to gain experience in the SEC. I see flashes of talent from Ashford, but then again, at the same time, too, the offensive line is having a hard time giving him time. He's limited in throwing the ball because he doesn't have a great wide receiving core. I see talent there in Ashford. I just don't know if it's going to be developed in time for him to be a good quarterback in the future.
We'll see on that. He certainly has explosive speed, right? We can definitely say that. Auburn's best offense right now is when he drops back, he flushes out his high pocket, he scrambles. That's their best offense, without a doubt. That's the only thing they can do reasonably well. That's not really an offense. That's just him improvising in the moment. So, that's what it is. He completed about 30, a third of his passes against Georgia, which, you can't win many football games doing that at the quarterback position. He's had, I think, 6 or 7 fumbles already this season. Lost all of them, but he has some major ball security issues, I think that's maybe one of the reasons they're afraid to use him on the zone read, which is another area with Robbie and Tank that, maybe could be a foundational type play, and might could get Tank some better touches, but for whatever reason they're not doing it, and I think the reason is because of his ball security issues. So, I feel like this offense is sort of, I don't know what you can do at this point in the season.
Have we
make a change? Maybe somebody can come in here and say, look, we're going to run this play and we're going to do it, over and over again so we get it right, But personnel-wise, on the offensive line, skill player position, Auburn's really lacking, especially quarterback and offensive line. It's just it just shows up every Saturday.
Well, and speaking of quarterbacks, do we know at all when TJ Finley is going to return?
Oh, well, health-wise, yes. Maybe this week.
Mm-hmm.
Probably this week. But I think I'm not sure the coaching staff wants to go back to him.
Oh, really? So you think because of the offensive line issues? Yeah.
Yeah, immobile quarterback in this offense, then you take away your best play, which is a scramble, if you put Ben back in there. So they may have to go back to him just because everybody's so bad, right? But I don't think that matters. I don't think that's an issue either way. But health-wise, he should be back very soon, maybe this week. On the other side of the ball, the defense hasn't played well.
Mm-hmm.
And really, if they are being used properly, right? If Auburn would have played, defense and punt and, conservative against LSU, they probably would have had another win, but they didn't.
Right.
They took too many chances there and put the defense in tough positions again. But I think the defense is getting tired, getting banged up. Ekulioto's now out for the season. Derek Hall could barely get on the field against Georgia there at the end. Some reason he's in the game in the fourth quarter. And if you look at the numbers of snaps, some of these top guys are playing, like Derek and Colby Wooden and Marcus Harris and all those really good players in the front six. They're playing way too many snaps, and it's just a matter of time before there's more breakdowns. It's just this coaching staff just has no common sense whatsoever. So they're about to dismantle a defense that's really, really pretty good. And, some more cracks might form here against Ole Miss. Would not be surprised to see the Rebels put up some big numbers against Auburn.
Brian Matthews joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline this morning, talking to Auburn Tiger football. And, Brian, I mean, it's the $100,000 question, and everybody wants to talk about it, and everybody wants to, have an opinion on it. Your thoughts? Auburn is under an interim AD right now. We've seen him out and about at different events. Brian Harsin, you got Ole Miss, and then the bye week. Does he make a decision as the interim AD, do you think, on his future this season? I mean, in the middle of the season, I should say. Or is this one of these cases where Brian Harsin is safe because there's an interim AD until the end of the year?
Well, I'd say it's a $15 million question because his buyouts are right around $15 million. But I think it could happen as early this Sunday, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I got that gist that Brian was thinking it might happen during the bye, like when they're going into the bye, gone.
And I think the order of things that's going to happen, again, it's not a guarantee here, but I think the order of things is Parsons is going to be let go. They're going to hire a new AD. I think John Hartwell from Utah State.
I've heard his name. Yeah,
we said Ole Miss, Troy, and some other places. Auburn Connections is the favorite there to get that job. And then that AD, whether it's Hartwell or somebody else, along with the president and others, will be in charge of bringing in a new head coach. So I would not be surprised if this is the weekend, but we'll see. They got to play the game. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and if they, I guess the only saving grace would be if they did upset Ole Miss last year. It was probably that game in Arkansas was the highlights for Auburn last year, and they were a play or two away from beating Alabama. But as we said, the thing with this coaching staff, though, no matter in those games or what you've been telling us as you've joined us in the last couple of weeks and few weeks of this season so far, is this team cannot finish, and they in the second halves of games, and it happened again in Athens because it was still a competitive game at halftime, but this team has fallen flat, this coaching staff has, in second halves of games.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, it's really bad how poorly they're being outplayed in the second half of games, how much they're being outscored. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Right, it's
pretty ugly against Power 5 teams. It's really bad. And I think most of that is just due to the personnel, Auburn does some different things the first half, schemes up some things, and once other teams figure out what they're doing, they have no other answer because they just don't have the Jimmys and Joes to get it done in most cases. And the defense, they've got some Jimmys and Joes, but most of those Jimmys and Joes will be gone for this season. So as bad as the offense is this year, it could be even worse next year, and the defense is definitely going to take a step back next year. So the next guy coming in has really got some work to do. Especially in the transfer portal. So they've got to really be thinking about that and maybe try to get a guy, ready to go as quickly as possible. I think that'll be really important for them if they want to have a chance to improve this team going into next year.
Brian, you've mentioned recruiting. You talked a little bit about it. How is that faring right now for Auburn after coming out of those 5 consecutive home weeks?
Yeah, not good. They're 51st in the country, I believe, at last check I had, 12th in the SEC. Unlike last year, which the end of the season 71st in the country, you don't see a bunch of players lined up. Oh, okay, the Auburn's going to get most of these guys. They're going to finish strong. You don't see that this time. Clay, I think it's Whedon, did decommit from Michigan State. I think it was last night.
He did, yeah.
I think he's probably going to commit to Auburn, so that will be a positive there. I think he's a good, solid offensive lineman from down there in Tampa. But then again, this is the guy that Auburn said thank you to, several months ago, and now desperate to get. That tells you kind of what situation they're in right now. And I just don't see a whole bunch of other guys coming in. And really, when I look at this class right now, I see some good players, but I also see some, guys that are just, we'll see, questionable guys. You just don't know how they're going to develop or if they are at all. So that's a big issue. They switched into the top 20 in recruiting last year. Most of the portal guys they signed have not been guys that have made big a lot of them made contributions, but not really top-level contributions, right? Some of them have, but most of them have not. And there's going to be a big, loss of talent there on the defensive side this year. So they really need to get a guy in quickly that's going to get the ground running really, really quickly if I'm just going to have a chance next year.
Well, I mean, Brian Harsin even brought it up to himself that a couple of guys that left the program after year one, J.J. Pegues and Ladarius Tennyson, have been playing well and could play big roles in that game Saturday in Oxford.
Yeah, definitely. J.J. Pegues, I think he's got NFL potential at defensive line, and Ladarius is certainly one of those guys that plays really physical, really hard-hitting guy. A guy that's really good on special teams, too. And then, you look at Bo Nix and what he's doing in Oregon right now. Not to say that he would be doing that in Auburn behind that offensive line, but, that's some good players they lost, right? And they didn't really replace them with players that were better. So that's just where Auburn is right now. It's just, I think it's fair to say that Harsin and his staff have completely mismanaged this program from top to bottom. Here we are.
And it looks like a long road to hoe Saturday. I'm assuming you don't give Auburn much of a shot.
They're 14 points underdogs, and I don't have my predictions yet. We'll do those Saturday morning, but I'm going to predict them to lose by probably 4 touchdowns at least.
Oof, that's not good. This could be the end for Brian Harsin. Well, Brian, thank you for coming on with us and being so frank and giving us the strong opinions. Just let everybody know how to follow your work and you guys' coverage at auburnsports.com.
Well, I appreciate it, and we'll continue to cover this team as best we can. And I do try to call it like it is, when it's good or bad, and it's not good right now. But you can catch all that at auburnsports.com. Follow me on Twitter at BMattAU.
And, hey, it'll be much more fun at Best Basketball Media Days next week.
There you go.
Yes, no doubt about that.
No doubt. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Yeah. There's a lot more positive energy about the basketball program than there is football right now.
He was point blank there. Let's get that break in and let's dissect exactly what Brian Matthews said when we return for our headlines.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had a report of a wreck southbound on the Parkway through the Drake-Bob Wallace area, but I'm not seeing any slowdown there. We did have an injury wreck at Explorer and Farrow Road. That one could be a problem for a few minutes. Moore's Mill north of Winchester and Beltline and 6th Indicator both should be clearing. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the Heart Doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill. Humphreys is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And yes, indeed, time does keep on slipping to the future. And yesterday, possibly, we saw a future college head football coach going to make his return from the NFL to the college game. The Carolina Panthers dismiss Matt Rule as their head coach.
Nebraska, man.
Where does he go?
The Huskers. Husker Nation.
Auburn?
Need to be all over him.
Auburn?
No.
Potentially? No?
The Huskers. Husker Nation. Passionate fan base. The Little 10. I think he's the one guy that could probably win there. Either him or Lance Leipold. And Kansas is trying to get every Jayhawk and every, they are penny.
Milking everything they can out of him this year.
They're trying to do everything they can to hold on to Lance.
Kansas has another big game this weekend. They have Oklahoma this week.
But if I were in Nebraska, I would already be on the phone with his agent. Matt Rule, man. The guy won at Temple. Just
say one more. Just go one more. Go four because it's that big.
And then he turned Baylor around after that total, utter disaster that he had to clean up. And it was, trust me, it was worse off the field than Nebraska.
Yeah, because when he took over Baylor, did he not take over after all of
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, all of the sexual misconduct.
The Art Briles
Yes,
stuff, man.
yes.
He cleaned it up in 3 years. So Nebraska is not as near as low as that Baylor program was. Hell, Nebraska's won a couple of games since they got rid of Boat Anchor. Okay? Sometimes you hire the alum and he sucks. Alabama certainly did that a couple of times.
Mike Shula.
And Mike DeBose. Kerthunk.
But though the program under Mike Shula,
it was under probation because of Dubose.
He helped build that program back up. He could not get it.
He was the Brian Harsin of Alabama. He couldn't coach a lick.
He took it further than Brian Harsin, though.
He did. He won 10 games, but so did Mike DeBose beat Steve Spurrier twice. I'm going to say that one more time.
Brian Harsin, I don't think could ever win 10 games at all.
No, but Mike DeBose beat Steve Spurrier twice.
Yeah.
That's all you got to say, man. Including like a yard dog the second time.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So anything can happen. Because Mike DeBose was Alabama's Ed Ogeron. Y'all.
Gene
Bama
Chizik?
football.
Alabama,
Whatever you want to say.
No, I mean, because
one of those two.
Yeah.
But y'all, Bama football.
Well, both of those two have national championships.
Oh.
Mike DuBose lost in the sugar or the Orange Bowl.
He lost
to Tom Brady.
to Tom Brady, who I made the statement that.
But Sean Elliott,
you're making this guy look like Joe Montana, but he was better than Joe Montana. Even though you can't rough the passer, though, don't breathe on him. It's a penalty.
You just can't come down on your weight.
They can kick you in the cods, and they're not going to call anything. Get Joe on the bat phone.
What does Joe have to do with roughing the passer?
It's his whole administration that's got this country where it is. Bunch of... No, I can't say it on the air.
Well, why not? Why not? What's stopping you there?
I don't know. Bunch of pussified idiots.
I mean, we've used other words. All right, that's going to do it for the 2 hours today.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate our callers. We appreciate Bill Shanks. Enjoy the Braves game, Bill. We're going to have that here on 97.7 The Zone.
All right, guys. We'll be back at it tomorrow, Wednesday. Hey, Grady the Greek right out
Team
of the
of the
gate
week,
tomorrow.
too. Bob Jones.
Yeah.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on